Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world. Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And this is Christina.
Today's episode is about the High Priestess, our final Major Arcana card of Season 2, our final Cancer season card.
This is funny, listeners. Nicole and I were just chatting before we hit record, and then we were laughing. I was laughing pretty hard. And then, Nicole, as soon as you hit record and you started talking, it was your podcast voice. You're like, hello and welcome. I'm like, oh. It was like when you would answer the phone when we were younger and be like, you're like yelling at your siblings and running around the house and you're like, hello, who's speaking? Yeah. We have like the professional voice, the podcast voice.
That's true.
The High Priestess voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were having a very lively conversation. I think we have this wonderful Cancer energy, this wonderful watery energy. And now, listeners, we're talking about the High Priestess. And I think we're going to be taking this like with the sensation of like deep intuitive knowledge and, you know, our subconscious. But also there is a very like light, watery playfulness about the High Priestess. Do you know what I mean? Like this is still a card of energy and joy and self. So we'll see how many tangents we go on as we talk about this card.
I have a quote here from my Tarot Fundamentals book. When the High Priestess speaks to you, she says, I sprang from the deep, damp wells of knowledge residing inside you. I contain the secrets and truths of your past, present, and future. I am the book of you. When you seek an answer, I am the inner voice who responds. You operate on instinct, but I steer your course. Learn my language. I communicate through symbols, synchronicity, and impulse, often only making sense after events have run their course. I will not always be literal. Listen to my murmurs, whispers, and inklings. Learn to trust my voice. You will never be led astray. I am your intuition and subconscious.
I start off right away with a message from the High Priestess. Beautiful. Are you ready for the list? You want me just to start?
Yeah, let's get into it.
The card name, High Priestess. The very beginning of the card, it was the Popus or La Pepessa in early Italian. That was one of the oldest cards tarot card decks we have was Italian. When we talked about this, when we talked about the Hierophant and the influence of the structured Catholic religion, but there's an element of just like, how was there a female Pope? It's not part of the conversation of our culture today. But I did read a note that at St. Peter's Basilica, I haven't been there, but there is a statue of a female Pope wearing the papal crown, holding the book and the keys. And in the history of the Catholic Church, the female representation of the Pope was the representation of the actual church. So it's not really a divisive or a heretical or a controversial figure. It was a counterpart to the Hierophant in the way that we talked about it. I think with the conversation has changed a lot as human nature and our relationships to religion have changed, but it isn't necessarily a what is the word I'm looking for? Controversial card. And it wasn't meant to be controversial. It was meant to be the counterpart of the Hierophant. Also, this card is associated with Pope Joan, an actual historical figure. Listeners, you may see a note about this somewhere. You could go look that up. It's a very fascinating story. and also in parts of France, Germany, and Switzerland. The Hierophant and the High Priestess were replaced with Jupiter and Juno. Jupiter with the Hierophant and Juno with the High Priestess, because this is another religious reason, and not because it was heretical, but because Protestants didn't like the Catholic imagery on their tarot cards. So they began changing the characters. So you may see Juno, or you may see that female deity of a different, like a Roman or a Greek goddess counterpart, which I feel like I've seen or I've read about, and now I know why. So the Popess began the transformation into the priestess, and it started with the priestess of the silver star, and that was beginning with the English speaking countries beginning to change the names of the deck, and that was with the time of the Golden Dawn influence. But that was when the first times it started to become priestess, and then it became the High Priestess that we have today, and that's in the Rider Waite Smith deck. When we get into our cards, we'll talk about other names that go with this card. Are all of our cards called the High Priestess? I think they are.
I have one that's been renamed.
And I have one. So, but other decks in my research, like in a lot of ways, listeners, Nicole and I don't have a lot of tarot decks, honestly. I One of the websites I go to, tarotcake.com, this person has about 72 tarot decks. And
Oh
when
my
she
god.
puts when she, like it is such a lovely website. It's easy to find, tarotcake.com, or you can find that. It's an easy search. And when they do their card comparisons or a deep dive, it is so fascinating to see all the different cards and all the different interpretations. So on our cards, we do have kind of a small ish selection. Okay. The card number is 2, the second card. Do you have a note on numerology?
I do.
You do.
I do. So the number 2 can symbolize unity, balance, equanimity, duality, harmony, connection, and intimacy. I did read the chapter from Alana Fairchild's book, Messages in the Numbers, and she says, remember too that one of the most profound connections you can have is with the source of life. And part of the message in the 2 is to allow yourself to be nourished by connection. Don't forget to ask help every day and allow yourself to receive that help. On a practical level, this looks like you praying or speaking to the divine. Then the receiving part is saying yes to opportunities and assistance that come to you.
Well, that is beautiful.
Yeah, it made me think about the episode that we did, Invoking Source.
Mm,
In that episode, we talked about, for example, my experience when I hear the word prayers, it's too religious. But
yeah.
prayer is something that is part of my spiritual practice now. And I really like how some of these spiritual texts and metaphysical texts, the way they talk about prayer is it's so non religious. It takes the religion out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just invoking source. It's seeking the divine. It's speaking to the divine.
Yes. And that is just another aspect of the High Priestess and the relationship with the energy of that card and us and ourselves. Element is water. For a yes or no pull, like if you're asking your tarot deck, yes or no, and you pull the High Priestess, this is a maybe card. This, for me, this card would mean it's time for a radical personal inventory and period of reflection. Zodiac sign is the moon's Cancer, but the ruler of this card is the moon. It's ruled by a planet, the moon. The moon is in the realm of emotions, inner world, intuition, dreams, inner work, creation. The moon rules the fourth house, the house of I feel, the house of home, roots, and ancestry. The tarot ruler of the fourth house, Queen of Cups, water in the suit of water, cardinal water. Moving into correspondences, the Hebrew letter associated with this major arcana card is the Hebrew letter Gimel or Gamel. The symbol is the camel, and the meaning is wisdom. In the tree of life, in my book, it calls it the third pathway. On my chart, it has it as the 13th pathway. And it's in the pathway between the first sphere and the sixth sphere. Both of them are in the central pillar of the tree of life. The first sphere of Kether, meaning crown, which is pure will and the initial spark, divine source, ruled by Pluto. And the sixth sphere, Tripareth, beauty, the sphere of glory, harmony, and compassion, ruled by the sun. The chakra, I went and I did a look into some of the secondary chakras, and I touched on
Ooh.
some of these. And this is the fifth eye chakra, or the Soma chakra. And Soma in Sanskrit translates to divine nectar or elixir. This would be considered a minor energetic center in the yogic and spiritual traditions, but it is not minor to a lot of people who work heavily with chakra energy. And this is located, I want to make sure I have it right, above the third eye and within the crown chakra space, usually right in the center of the hairline. And when we look at some of the images of the high priestess, sometimes that is right where her crown or her diadem or her laurels or like her wreath will sit. And some of the other characters too, you think about the things that we put around and on our heads, and a lot of times it goes right over that chakra, the
I
Soma
was just
chakra.
looking at my cards, and almost all my cards, there's something on that chakra.
And that's the Soma, Soma. That's the Sanskrit word, Soma chakra. Okay, crystal, lavender quartz, and selenite. I have so much selenite in my house. You just gave me some selenite. Selenite had a moment in my life, and apparently I couldn't get enough of it. And I have pieces everywhere, and I love selenite. And selenite, to me, I can feel the connection with this moon and this high priestess energy. And by book, it also made a mention of moonstone, which is another crystal. I actually have like moonstone jewelry. I have a necklace and I have earrings with moonstones in them. And I also have some crystals. But moonstone might really connect you to um, the divine feminine, the moon, and it aligns with this card because it's known to deepen intuition. Moonstone can enhance your psychic abilities and aid in connecting with the subconscious mind. And Moonstone assists in assessing hidden realms of knowledge and trusting our inner guidance. I also feel that with selenite. But I want to jump back for one moment back to the Soma chakra. There's a note where it says, unlike chakras focused on action or heat, and those often are like the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, I get energy and heat from. The Soma chakra focuses on devotion, surrender, and a feminine, moon like receptive energy. That crystal and that chakra to me have a nice theme of being more receptive and being like almost like a surrender and the connection between us and our inner world. So any crystal or any chakra energy that helps you feel that, go with it.
Drop in amethyst. I feel like that would work as well.
Symbols, and this is the Rider Waite Smith High Priestess card specifically we're talking about for these symbols, and then we'll talk more about the symbols in our cards. But often in almost all the High Priestess cards I've seen, there's some element of pillars. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the pillars are black and white, and they have a B and a J on them. Those are tied to the pillars in the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. And another note, the Boaz, which is the B, the black pillar, is tied to the elements of water and earth and yin energy, which
Makes
is that
sense.
darkness, that
Mm-hmm.
coolness. And then the white pillar, Jachin, I've seen it spelled different ways. Jachin or Jokin is white, and this is the yang energy, elements of fire and water. And I didn't connect the elements to the pillars before, and now I do, and now I totally get it why that High Priestess is sitting right there in between. And do you see that cross on the chest of the High
Mm-hmm.
Priestess?
I do.
That is the symbol of Earth. Do you know the symbol of Earth is a circle with a cross in the middle of it, like the planet Earth and the element of Earth? So that equal armed cross is a balance between four elements. So
Mm.
she is the balance in between all the elements. I gotta
It
say,
makes me think of when we talk about the kings. Are they air? Are they earth? We talk about how earth has the capacity to coalesce and hold the other elements.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then the veil or curtain, there's generally some type of separation or some sort of threshold or pathway in between the two pillars. And oftentimes there's a veil or a curtain. And that is the separation between the material world and the metaphysical world, between your conscious and your unconscious. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that particular curtain is highly decorated with pomegranates and with date palms and date fruit. The pomegranate is a symbol of yin and often femininity, and the date palm and date fruit is a symbol of yang or masculine energy. So it is another balance and coming together of those two energies. And that is the duality and the two nature of the High Priestess. Hey, did you notice that there's an ocean on the other side of the curtain?
Not at first.
I realized that when we were doing this podcast.
I was thinking about that as you were talking because I was looking at the curtain and I was having this like internal moment of laughing at myself because I read it in one of my books. And even though it was very clearly describing, I couldn't see it. It
I
was
didn't see
so
it.
weird.
I didn't see it, and I'm sure I read it. And I mean, that's what the beauty of taking a close look, a deeper dive into these. Like, for some reason, and my card isn't as clear as your card. I think I've said that a few times. Yours is a little more crisp and sharp. But now that I took the time to like really look at the veil and really look at the pillars, I was like, oh my gosh, there's an that there I see the ocean. And that is the ocean of our subconscious. That is the ocean of our internal world. I did not see that before. I guess I wasn't ready for it. Often the High Priestess has a scroll, and the scroll is the spiritual knowledge. It's different. I mean, I read a note about the book being earth world knowledge, representing the physical world knowledge, and the scroll being the metaphysical world knowledge. Okay. The moon, the triple goddess headdress with the full moon and the crescent moons on either side. There's the crescent moon at the feet of the High Priestess, and that is just the deep connection to the moon and this card. But also, the moon phases has a close tie to cycles, to seasons, and to changes. That's why the different phases of the moon. and her deep connection to it. Blue for truth, white for purity in the robes. I want to do two themes before we get into the cart, before you, like, two themes that we're sure is going to come up again. The story of Persephone and the High Priestess. Very closely tied, depending on, what authors you're reading or what websites or what tarot decks you have. But at the core of this is that it's a time for incubation. It's a time for germination. It's a time for separating yourself and going into yourself. As Persephone went into the underworld, but she was the seed of life. So she was germinating and thinking and planning. She was incubating. She was doing a radical personal inventory and reflection. And that is tied to the aspect of the High Priestess, of the triple goddess represented in our tarot deck. The triple goddess is Maiden, Mother, Crone. I added in the archetypes here. So
Ooh.
Maiden can be the innocent or the lover. The mother can be the caregiver or maybe the artist. And then the crone, sage, or magician. That's tied to the triple goddess mythology of Persephone, Demeter, and Hecate. The maiden can be strength, the high priestess, maybe the moon. The mother, justice. The empress, the sun.
Hmm.
And the crone, temperance. The hierophant, and the star. We were talking about counterparts, and now we're
Yeah.
talking about connections, and then we were talking about the virtues and all the connections between these cards. But I really enjoyed taking a few minutes to think about the triple goddess in the deck. And those are just a few, listeners. You probably can think of a couple just right now off the top of your head. Tie that with the triple goddess, with the mythology, and then with our archetypes, which we're getting ready to get into. Oh, look at all these. I want to take pictures of all these cards together and then do a deep dive into those when we get to those archetypes.
We have an episode coming up in season 3 on the triple goddess
Yes.
during Capricorn season.
Yes.
Yeah. For the Zodiac Tarot, getting into card comparisons now, we have a figure in a beautiful white dress, and she's standing in the crashing ocean waves. She's in the ocean. We have waves splashing and crashing around her. Up in the sky, we have a waning crescent moon to her right, and she's gazing to her left at a smaller, what to me looks like a full moon. So, two moons in the sky instead of the traditional pillars or mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do get a yin yang dynamic here with the moons. In this card, my note says she has a small crescent moon on her crown chakra. But now, after Christina, I know that that's actually probably her fifth eye, because maybe the crown would be like the top of your head, the crown of your head. And this is definitely like between the crown and the third eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this card has that. This deck, she labels the celestial body associated with the tarot card as well as the zodiac sign. So if you include that moon, there are 4 moons on this card. So a very strong, clear conveyance of the connection the High Priestess has to lunar power.
I did a quick lookup of the 2 constellations on there. Did you look up what those constellations are?
I'm assuming one of them is Cancer.
Yes. And Pisces. It looks like Pisces, which
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't. I don't need to memorize the shapes of all the constellations. That's what we have the internet for. But I had to look it up.
It'll come with time. I
Yeah.
mean, a year ago, I didn't know all the planet glyphs.
Mm-hmm.
If you showed it to me out of context, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
that is.
And now hopefully I'll always remember the Cancer constellation and Pisces constellation. I'm going to start with the Spirit Song Tarot. This is card 2. It's called the High Priestess. The author has chosen the lynx as the spirit animal with the words intuition and sacred knowledge. A group of lynx is called a chain, but they are solitary creatures, and it is very rare to see a chain of lynx out in the world. And lynx originates from the Latin lynx, which is for light and brightness, in reference to the animal's reflective eyes and keen eyesight. So lynx, I totally hear it that lynx is Latin based for light. Lynx are medium sized solitary wildcats. Do you know that a bobcat is a lynx because it's got a bob tail? It's in the same family. Mm-hmm. The lynx as a spirit animal symbolizes the seer of the unseen, and that represents heightened intuition, secrets, and quiet observation. They can sometimes are called keeper of secrets in some cultural traditions, and the lynx sees beyond the physical world and uncovers hidden truths. The lynx energy is associated with psychic powers, clairvoyance, and seeing beyond the physical world. That those reflective shiny eyes the lynx are getting really associated with having that really good eyesight. As a totem, this the lynx can signify deep spiritual understanding, again perceiving hidden truths, navigating mysteries, recognizing illusions. And the lynx energy, again because they're solitary, this promotes a solitude and a self-reliance along with patience. If a lynx is showing up as a spirit animal or as a totem, it may indicate that it's a time to look closer at what is not being said, to trust your intuition, and or to seek deeper knowledge in a quiet environment.
Mm.
That makes me want to go find a lynx, go look at one. I'm like, that's what I want right now.
Yeah. Okay, my my next card. It's from the Medicine Woman Tarot. Oh, what to say here? Um, Christina's laughing.
Listeners, go look at this card and then send us an email, and then we'll discuss it. if
This
you
is
if you see more than Nicole talks about.
this is the second card where we have just said go look at it
Yeah.
for this deck, I think. We have a figure seated in these like pretty lush ferns in a forest. There's a stream of water, trees. You can see some of the trees' roots, but it's very lush and green. It's vibrant. There's a lot of water. And up in the sky, there's a waxing crescent moon. And the way the moonbeams are sort of coming down and into the forest scene, it matches the color of the water. So you get this kind of watery lunar energy happening. But our figure is holding a hand mirror. She's kind of coyly, is that being
Mm-hmm.
coy, looking over one shoulder back at us, the viewer. And there is a question about where her other hand is and what she is about to use that mirror for.
Mm-hmm. There's a Venus element to this with the hand mirror and with the the energy of the character.
In this deck, she chose to rename the High Priestess as the Seeker. in antique anatomy, there is a skull, and it's almost as if this skull was a flower pot. There are white flowers growing out from the top of the skull.
I asked you this before. Does the author tell you what flowers?
No,
You say often you don't. Yeah. I
the
wish I knew
guidebook
more
doesn't
about
say.
flowers. Yeah, that's on my list. I would love to learn more flowers and
Yeah.
herbology and all that stuff.
Hmm.
I don't know what flower that is.
I don't know the flower, but I did look up the color white, and the color white symbolizes peace and purification, amplification, which I think is super relevant to the High Priestess, and the concept of equanimity. Equanimity is a state of psychological stability, mental calmness, and composure. It allows you to remain undisturbed by stress, strong emotions, or external turmoil. Rather than numbing your feelings or detaching from the world, it empowers you to observe your circumstances clearly and respond wisely. It represents the space between stimulus and response. When you are embodying equanimity, we'll say it that way, you avoid extreme overreactions and you avoid deep depressions. You maintain a grounded, even handed presence in the face of both joy and adversity. And this sounds a lot like the Queen and King of Cups that we talked about last episode. This ability to remain resilient and composed when rough waters confront
Mm-hmm.
you. In Buddhist psychology, equanimity is considered a foundational virtue. It is one of the four divine abodes, and it is taught as the balance that makes love, compassion, and joy sustainable without leading to burnout or attachment. And my final note on this card is there's a creepy situation happening with the teeth in this skull.
Mm-hmm.
The This is the skull of a child because we see the baby teeth, and up above the baby teeth, you see like the fully formed adult teeth that are waiting to come in after the baby teeth fall out. I didn't get too into this because it is an unsettling image to look at. It kind of makes my
Mm-hmm.
stomach turn for some reason. But there's this idea perhaps here that what is maybe more mature, more solid, more
Yeah,
permanent is what lies beneath the surface.
it
It's
could
it's
be.
deeper.
The Wild Unknown Tarot. This is card Roman numeral 2. The High Priestess. Keywords mystery and psychic wisdom. Here we have a white tiger gazing at a multicolored sphere resting in front of its body. There's a waning crescent moon in the left corner of the card. The white tiger represents high spiritual energy, connecting deeply with inner intuition, discernment, and awareness. And the waning crescent moon is considered a time for introspection, inner reflection, and releasing old habits and patterns. It's the final phase, so it embodies wisdom, closure, and necessary clearing of energetic space, encouraging quiet contemplation, self care rather than action. See, if I just read my notes like that all the time, man, our podcast would be like 25 minutes. But I don't read my notes like that.
In Mystic Mondays, I love the color scheme of this card. It's like
Yeah.
all purples, lavenders, dark purple, light purple. So this figure's sitting what looks like kind of like a throne. Um and it's almost like her throne is also the tapestry that's behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And the tapestry fades from this dark purple down into a lavender color. We have an eye over the third eye or the fifth eye, however it speaks to you. I think you could make a case for both. What's interesting when you look closer at this card is one of her arms is in front of the tapestry,
Mm-hmm.
and she has an upward facing palm, and there's kind of this like wavy scroll that she's holding in that upward facing palm. And then the other arm seems to like pierce the tapestry and cut through it. She can reach through it. And it's almost like a little bit reaching behind her as well. And in that upward facing palm, she's holding this sphere, which could represent the full moon. It could represent the realm behind the veil, because it's literally behind the veil. It could also represent the receptive subconscious.
It looks like the scroll, but it's also wavy, like watery.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like that fluidity to it too. But that card is, one of my favorites. For the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, card 2, called the High Priestess, the energy of this card is introspection. Here is a echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, of the High Priestess sitting in between two pillars. In this illustration, the pillars are trees, willow trees with the branches trailing down. The priestess is sitting with their feet in the water. There's the crescent moon reflected at the feet of the high priestess. There is the triple goddess crown. The eyes are like white, like the whites of the eyes, which to me is an internal gaze. The high priestess is holding the scroll, a sealed scroll with a red wax seal and a red ribbon in one hand, and a pomegranate in her other hand on her lap. And the high priestess is all in white in this illustration. So it's a nice reflection, or a nice echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but with a very natural, earthy, witchy, a little more modern vibe to it. A little modern vibe. Yes, that's it.
My next deck, we have the Light Seers. My first note is she looks like a Colorado gal. She has this pretty blue and green scarf, this red beaded necklace, these pretty gold earrings with little crescent moons on them, and has her hair kind of up. And anyway, that's just kind of what struck me at first. But she has her eyes closed. She looks like she is deeply and peacefully in meditation. On her crown chakra, we see a little crescent moon resting. And I would say this is maybe more crown chakra to me, because it is kind of truly on the top of her head.
Yeah.
And then from that crown chakra space, there's this like portal of like pink twinkling light. It's like a light beam going straight upwards from her crown chakra. And it makes me think of receiving downloads from the universe or receiving information. It's interesting that I said the light beam is going up, because to me that direction would be like, I'm the high priestess and I'm sending energy up to the divine. But then it's like bi-directional, because she can also pull information down or receive information down from the universe. So it's like this information highway to the cosmos. Now, what's cool, in the upper two corners of the card, there are 2 runes on one side, 2 runes on the other. And I did ask AI to help me identify them. So the first rune, M-A-N-N-A-Z, Manaz, is the rune for humanity, the self, and the collective consciousness. The next rune, Laguz, Laguz, is the rune of water, flow, intuition, and the unconscious mind. So it's almost like those two runes together make up one pillar, and then the other two runes on the other side of her make up the other pillar. And those two runes, Perthro, if I'm saying that right, is a rune that is widely regarded as one of the most mysterious and enigmatic symbols in
Mm-hmm.
the runic alphabet, heavily associated with the unknown, destiny, hidden knowledge, mystery, secrets, fate, and the unmanifested hidden laws of the universe. So, High Priestess. And the other rune that's paired with that one is Wunjo, maybe? Wunjo. And this rune represents a state of well being, contentment, and being in perfect alignment with yourself and the world around you.
Mm.
So I love how Chris-Anne, instead of using pillars, picked out these runes and created pillars with
Mm-hmm.
the runes.
The Sacred She, card 2. It is the unknowable. Because we
I like
cannot
that.
know. This energy can only be felt, experienced. It's a purple and indigo hues, multi layered card. There's crescent shapes with starlight like pouring down in a veil. And there's a face and also superimposed or underimposed, I guess. I see the shape of a person. And they're like layered on top of each other, and then layered with 3 crescent moons towards the top, a larger crescent moon at the bottom, sort of holding all the shapes and that cascading white starlight energy. And there's a lot of star shaped points of light. There's one big star shaped point of light at the top, and that looks like that's at the crown chakra of the larger face in that card. You just look at this card and you feel it and you see what you need to see.
The Muse Tarot. We have a figure in a blue cloak. She's holding a crescent moon, and one of the tips of the crescent moon is like touching the energy center in the palm of her open left hand. And there's this like illumination or this radiant kind of beaming light that's coming out from.
Her palm chakra. That's where the eye is in the Hamsa hand.
Yes. And speaking of eye, in the same way that her palm chakra is illuminated, so is her, you could say third eye. You could maybe say fifth eye. This is
Oh,
looks a little bit
yeah.
closer to third eye territory, but open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the runic alphabet arcs over our priestess. I didn't look up each individual rune meaning because there are, I would say, about like 20 runes kind of arced over her. Instead of 2 pillars, we see 2 drawn curtains, and the runic alphabet appears to be in the space behind the curtains, so that if the curtains were to close, the runes would be covered up. This idea of secret knowledge, hidden knowledge. And with that in mind, what immediately came to my mind was that myth we talked about with Odin and his Neptunian sacrifice on the Tree of Life, which led him to receive the runes. So to me, that idea is very much present in this priestess card. From the guidebook, Chris-Anne writes, she sits with one foot in this realm and the other in the depths of the cosmic field of information. Your instincts are a powerful guidance system, and the priestess reminds you that working with the subtle energies of the spirit will bring you unshrouded truth.
I want to make a note about her hairstyle. Do you know what that's, have you heard what that's called when you have the knot of hair on the very top of your head?
I don't think so.
You've done some kundalini with me. That's why I'm asking if this has come up in the traditions of what I've learned this in the Kundalini traditions, that's called the Rishi knot. And our hair is an energetic extension of us. And to put your hair in a knot on the top of your head above your crown chakra is a way to stimulate your how do you pineal gland, or do you say it
Pineal.
pineal
I've heard it
gland?
said that way too. Yeah.
But also there's a lot of talk about hair and energy in Kundalini. That Rishi knot is another way of harnessing that energy and harnessing that focus upward when you put a knot on the top of your head. And I think in this card that was done intentional
Oh, I'm sure.
in this High
Yes.
Priestess. When I saw it, I was like, oh, what's that called? I did a quick internet search and the internet reminded me.
A collection of words for the High Priestess: intuition, inner knowing, sensitively in tune, serenity, contemplation, meditation, introspection, prayer, hidden or secret knowledge, wisdom, hidden potentials, esoteric knowledge, enigmas, metaphors, symbols.
Hey, I saw a couple tarot cards online where the High Priestess was a psychic.
Mm.
She was an astrologer and oftentimes in some form of divination, like modern divination practice. And
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. I thought that was a good interpretation.
I remember in one of our episodes this season talking about formulating your own language of divination and learning how your guides speak to you. So becoming
Mm-hmm.
fluent in symbols and metaphors,
Mm-hmm.
receptivity, listening, the subconscious, psychological depth, something that has yet to be revealed, thresholds, devotion to a spiritual practice, the keeper of moon magic, unrevealed future and hidden influences at work. In reverse, the high priestess could be about overthinking, over analyzing, relying too heavily on the guidance of other people.
Oh my gosh. In my book, it this phrase has stuck in my head. Inappropriate mentor.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Listening to bad advice. And that
You
is like
know,
you have to listen to your gut to know that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
yep.
when something,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Because that could be your astrologer and that could be an inappropriate mentor.
Yes.
That could be bad advice.
And not to go off on a tangent, but this could include friendships. I mean,
Mm,
they've done research on this, and we subliminally, like subconsciously, choose who we ask advice to because we already know what certain people are going to
yes.
say.
Yes.
And
Did we talk about this on a podcast once? Because I
probably,
feel like you and I have talked about this.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the as I get older, as I grow in like my own spirituality, it is so important for me to be surrounded by people who are positive and try to see the best possible outcome. It is so draining when I get bad advice from people who are
Yeah.
operating from like a different plane of existence.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so also in reverse, the high priestess could be about ignoring your intuition, avoiding the truth, deception. We can kind of deceive ourselves sometimes, right? But it could
Yes.
also be deceiving others, being too busy for meditation,
Yeah.
out of touch, disconnected.
And the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, there's a question to write the reversal. If you get this card in reverse, and the question to ask yourself is, what thrives inside me?
Are you ready for messages from the universe?
Yes.
I have 3 cards pulled. I am using the Wild Unknown Archetypes Guidebook and
Oh,
deck by Kim Kranz.
we are archetype ready.
We are. So it was just calling to me, and the first card is the vision, the dream, the imagined, the revealed. She says you can gauge how connected you are to your vision by how tired you are. Since the vision feeds us energy, it affects our life force and vitality. All right, so the guidebook for this card says it is said that we are each born with a unique vision, a destiny towards which we are aimed. It is also said that we forget this vision the moment we are born. Thus, we are sent on a lifelong journey of rediscovery. Such is the elusive nature of the vision. It slips away, yet it guides. It appears in strange dreams and surreal images, seemingly unattainable and preposterous. Preposterous. Why is preposterous? Okay.
Words are hard for us today. We're just having.
It's not hitting my eardrum like I'm saying that word correctly, but we're going to move on. When we are connected to the vision, we carry an inspired, enchanted aliveness that others recognize. We trust the world and its synchronicities. We walk through new doors into wondrous opportunities. We all want to be near those with vision. They emit energy more potent than any elixir. When we lose connection to the vision, life becomes dull, exhausting, and lacking meaning. Bring back the mystery, bring back the dreams. The High Priestess was with us for that one.
Mm-hmm.
When light, potent imagination, synchronicity, and trust. When dark, disconnected from art and dreams, listless, aimless.
Well, that's been me the past 2 weeks.
I know, that's been very this Capricorn full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Card 2. The warrior, the samurai, the soldier, the advocate. Without a true purpose, manifesto, or oath, the warrior is lost. What do you stand for? What are you willing to rise in the name of? We often envision the warrior as an armed figure with sword in hand moving blindly towards battle. Yet the deeper aspects of this archetype bring us face to face with death itself. The warrior stands precariously at the edge of life and death, trusting the eternal to guide the sword's blade. The warrior's work requires presence, alignment, and purpose. If and when the warrior loses its center, meaningless confrontations and violence are their default response. When this card appears, it is important to question the battle at hand. It is likely a great one with deep roots and long standing tensions. The actions you take will stay with you long after the dust settles, so choose wisely. As you draw your sword, realign with the eternal wisdom within, then surrender to the battle. When light, fierce clarity, purposeful action, resolve, resilience. When dark, threats, savagery, abandoning mission and values.
Mm.
And I can't remember if we've had this card on the podcast before or if I've just drawn it like personally, but the third and final card is the temple, the sanctuary, the shrine, the altar. The ancient yogis saw the body itself as the temple, every function and feature of it as an expression of divinity. Build a shrine with found materials. Don't spend any money, only time. When we think of the temple, we often envision an architectural structure in a far-off land. We are quick to distance ourselves from the sacred, assuming we must expend much effort in order to arrive there. Yet the temple is a universal and omnipresent energy, accessible in the highest and lowest, richest and poorest of places. Visiting the temple might be as simple as stepping into the dappled light of the forest, slowly and sensuously kissing a lover, or closing your eyes to travel inward. This card is a call to re-examine what you pay homage to and what you reject. Words are hard. What do you spend your time worshiping? Your money, your phone, your material goods? What barriers do you draw between yourself and the sacred? Perhaps there is room on your altar for something new, something surprising. Offer it to the heavens. When light, reverence for all, life as sanctuary. When dark, idolatry, cults, strict spirituality. I felt the high priestess in those.
All three of those cards were for me.
It can be like that sometimes.
Yeah, but that was definitely a high priestess messaging. Yeah.
Yes.
And that deck, that archetype deck is just phenomenal.
Until next week, listeners, which next week is our final season 2 episode, The Court of Wands. And then we're diving in. We're going to just keep going. We're going right into archetypes. We're doing the astrological houses. We are doing goddesses. We are doing the elements. We are grouping the tarot cards by numbers.
We're doing all the kings and then all the eights and then all, it's so cool.
So we're just keeping it going. We're just kind of changing out some topics for others. So until then, we love you. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.